This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. All right, everybody. Can you hear me? Oh, there it is. That was the weirdest thing. Could you actually hear me talk before, Jared?
Yeah, I was hearing you fine.
Oh, I wasn't hearing myself in my headphones, so I thought my mic was dying or something. But no, it looks like it's there now. Bizarre. Tech issues here. Welcome everybody to the ToG Gaming Podcast, episode number 161. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, Jared Schultz. How's it going, Jared?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing, Lloyd?
I am doing very, very well. I am very, very disappointed in you, though, Jared.
Because I watched hockey today, more hockey than I've watched in the entire last years.
No, I mean that was great. I mean Canada won, of course. So I mean that was good. It was a great game, but your attempts at chirping at me on Twitter were also kind of funny. But no, I'm disappointed. Your Winnipeg, Manitoba joke, you didn't do it till like way after I had already read the lines. So I got
distracted.
I was anticipating the lulls, but there was no lulls to be had. I'm very disappointed, Jared.
I'm sorry. So where do you go to live in the summer when your igloos melt?
We dig a big pit, and then the igloos melt, and we have pools, and it's great. Okay. And then we have pools.
And you live in the pools.
And we live in the pools, yeah.
Okay.
We're part amphibian up here in Canada. It's a little.
That's only a couple of weeks, though, right? Until the snow comes back and you get your igloos back.
Yeah, pretty much. Sometimes it could be up to a month. I mean, if we're really, really lucky. But yeah, I mean that's why our national animal is the beaver, because we like to live in water just like them. We make little beaver lodges for ourselves to live in as well. It's a great life up here in Canada.
That makes so much more sense. Yeah. I get it now. Yeah, great. Okay. Learn something new every day.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the show. Jared, how have you been, man? We haven't talked for 2 weeks. Has anything new happened in your life besides the U.S. Giving up a 2-goal lead for Canada to come back and win in overtime? Anything besides that? Has anything happened interesting?
I feel like you're expecting me to say something, and I got nothing.
No, we haven't talked in a couple of weeks. I wanted to give you time to
forth. Just same old. More work and yeah.
Yay. Yay. Employment. Huzzah.
Yeah. That's about it for me.
Cool.
More of the same.
Cool.
How about you?
Nothing much. I got a PS4. That's new. We haven't talked about it on this show. I've talked about it on my other shows that I do here on the network. But yeah, I finally managed to find one, and that's awesome. I love it. I love the Vita remote play, the ability to basically turn on my PlayStation 4 anywhere in my house with my Vita and play games on my Vita is kind of like my one want for Apple, is to be able to have this device that plays games and then be able to play those games on my iPad or my iPhone in the same way that the Vita does it and the PS4 does it. Would be just amazing. If the next gen Apple TV comes out and it does something similar to that, it would just be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because in a lot of ways, the Vita acts as the Wii U gamepad does, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that remote play, except in, off TV play, there's some similarities there, except that it's obviously very different too. So,
yeah.
And the Vita is obviously a bit nicer piece of technology than the Wii U gamepad. But anyway, interesting to see. Congratulations on getting a PS4. I don't have a PS4.
They're so hard to find. I was actually just looking at one of the local retailers up here today, Future Shop, and they have stock of the Xbox One, and they've had it for a while. And you could reserve in any store in town and go pick it up. and they haven't had PS4s ever. And I just lucked in. Actually, is Kyle still in the chat room? Kyle's still in the chat room. It's all because of Kyle in the chat room. He texted me, or he sent me a tweet just after Future Shop updated their website, and I reserved in store, and I got one of the 5 that they had in, and they sold out in about 20 minutes for when the store went live to when I pre-ordered mine or reserved in store. So they're just flying out like crazy. So I'm super, super lucky that I was able to get one.
Yeah. I am very much, I want to have a decent, I'm too cheap. I want to have a decent number of games in the library before I go. Yeah. And so far I don't have that. So
no, there's really not many games. It's like the Wii U launch. There's very few games that are worth owning. But it'll happen. Yeah.
And when it does, then maybe I'll think about it, but it'll be a while, and I'm all right with that because I still have way too much to play.
Yeah, my pile of unopened games isn't getting any smaller, so I gotta.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll get there. Maybe. No, not unless we take a year off of buying games, and even then it'd be questionable. So,
do you know what also is big? What else is big as far as gaming is my pile of games on my phone and iPad that have a blue dot beside them because I haven't opened them since I downloaded them. That is a fairly large pile as well.
Yeah, I haven't been finishing as many games lately, but yeah. Do you want to go first? That was a segue. Do you want me to go first?
No,
or do you want to go first? Talk about what you're playing.
I can do
go
it.
For it.
I've been playing a lot of stuff actually. The first one I've been playing mainly just because of my PS4, and I was playing the game called Knack on the PlayStation 4, which is this platformer, really beautiful looking game. The game's kind of annoying and hard and really not the best game to play, but it's fun, and it has a companion app for iOS, which is a match 3 puzzler. And the cool thing is when you play Knack on the iPhone, you unlock pieces of artifacts, and that gets synced up to your Sony account, your PlayStation PSN account, and then they're available right in the game. So you can actually get further faster in the game if you play the iOS app. Which is a lot of fun. So I've been playing a fair bit of that, although I've beaten the game, so that game will probably be removed from my iOS device soon, just because it is not super enjoyable to play if you're not going towards a goal of making your gameplay a bit better. So I've been playing a fair bit of that. I picked up a game called Dungeon Highway, mainly because it was retro and it looked cool. It's kind of weird. It's a auto runner where you're running into the screen, and it's very 8-bit. I'll see if I can show some of it.
Is that like Cannabolt, or what's the one that got really big? I can't remember.
It's kind of like Cannabolt, but it's an auto runner, and it's super bloody. Like if you are looking at the video, if I'm trying to get the glare off of it, which isn't working, but you basically have to you're running straight ahead, like you're basically running down a road. And if you touch the screen, you shoot fireballs or other weapons if you pick up little potions to give you different weapons. And you have to avoid the walls and columns and the enemies and shoot the enemies and pick up the power-ups and the treasures and stuff and try to get as high a score as possible. And the further that you go, the more things there are to avoid, the harder things get, et cetera, et cetera. And you're basically just trying to get a high score. But it's very pixelated. Apparently, the reason why I downloaded it is I think it's using voxels, so similar like Minecraft, how it uses volumetric pixels. I believe this game is using that as well. So I just wanted to see what it looked like, and it's fun. It was a free download, I believe. I'd have to double check on that, but I don't know. I've kind of had my fun with it, and then that's about it. It's there. So if it's free, it's a decent thing to at least check out, but I don't think it's going to be keeping me away from any other games in the near future. I'm just looking at it right now, and yeah, it is free, so you can go download that one and check it out. It's interesting. Besides that one, I've been playing a little bit of threes here and there, and digging it. I tend to get impatient and then just go fast, and then basically screw up any sort of chance of getting a high score. I'm having a hard time being patient with this game, so
Yeah, that's one thing I found, that this one really rewards patience, because sometimes you're like, oh, I have two 12s. I just want to combine those two 12s, and you'll do whatever it takes to combine those two 12s. But if you're doing that and not focusing on, combining your ones and twos and getting your threes up, then you can really get screwed, because all of a sudden, you'll have that nice, 12 might not be the right number, but like you'll have a nice 48 or 96, and that's great because it's worth a lot of points. But the moment you get that, you're dead.
Yeah,
because
you get a bunch of ones or twos that are surrounded by other like threes and sixes, making it impossible for you to ever clear those out. Yeah, exactly.
It really rewards patience. I've been playing it as well. It seems like it's getting a lot of love on the internet. I like it. There a lot of people are maybe going a bit too far with it, I think, in my personal opinion, because it's good. It's good to play for a few minutes. But like we were saying, it takes some patience, and so the games do last a little bit of time if you're trying to actually do well on them. And so it's not quite as, it doesn't support those quick plays quite as well as some of the other ones. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I dig it. I'm impatient, and that's my problem. I got to work on my patience a little bit, but it's definitely it's definitely a game that is getting a lot of hype out there. So I felt like I kind of have to keep trying to get better, because all my friends are, and they're scoring like 4,000, 5,000, and I'm scoring like 740, and it's like, yay, 740. And you look at the scores that everybody else has done, it's like, oh, I'm terrible. But yeah, I gotta get better at that one. And I'm also playing.
It's one that I think will kind of be a slow burn for me. It'll be on my device for a long time, and every once in a while, every couple of weeks, I might get out and play a handful of games, and then put it away for a month, and then I think it'll just kind of be a slow burn for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've been playing one other game that I'm going to be reviewing this week. It's called Only One, and I'll be talking about that one later in the episode. Cool. So Jared, what have you been playing?
So I know that I keep saying I'm never going to mention this again. I'm still playing Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Well, that's okay. I'm still playing Simpsons, and I'm still playing Skylanders. So we all have our guilty pleasures that we keep playing.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because in the last 2 weeks, my brother found the game, and now he's getting really into it. And in fact, every once in a while he'll call me for strategy tips and stuff like that. And so just as I was starting to kind of give up on it and everything, all of a sudden now I have people playing along with me and sending me little cash reserves that give me a little bit of perks.
Pulling you back in to the
pulling
addiction.
Me back in. It seems like every single time when I'm just about ready to start kicking the habit and moving away from it, then it figures out some way, and I have no idea why all of a sudden my brother started playing it. But yeah, and then not only that,
obviously it's because he was listening to the show.
That's probably it. But then he was playing it, and then today, or no, it was yesterday, I get this notification that my other brother sent me a cache, and I'm like, oh really? So now both of my older brothers are currently playing the game. So kind of funny, but yeah, that's still happening. Then I have been playing threes as well. I put that on my list of games I'm playing. Like I said, enjoying it. It'll probably be one that stays on there a long time and not necessarily gets played really heavily ever, but one that will be on there is kind of just one that is a great one to exercise the brain a little bit on. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's very important when you're playing the game that you're patient. And then the last one, or the second one that I was going to talk about here real quick, is a game called Another Case Solved. So there was a game that came out a while ago. I think it was now 2 years ago, and it was called Puzzlecraft. And Puzzlecraft, it gets published by Chill and Go, so that's who you're going to see as the developer and all that in the listing. But this is the first game from the same studio that put out the game Puzzlecraft. And Puzzlecraft was all about building up your little city, and you would get so many chickens, and then pigs would generate, and then you'd get so many pigs, you'd match 3, and the way that you do it is by dragging a line, and you don't have to stop at 3. You can go as far as you want. Well, I was kind of intrigued when this game came out. I hadn't really heard a whole lot about it, but they came out with a new game called Another Case Solved. It has some similar mechanics. It has some different mechanics. Basically, you are a private eye, kind of like I don't know, maybe even an Ace Attorney or something like that, Phoenix Wright. And you are living under a totalitarian regime that has outlawed candy, which is, just really tragic. And so there's all sorts of little story missions about this candy that has been outlawed as you go through it. And it's kind of goofy and a little bit of a cheesy storyline, but essentially different people will come and ask you to do different things for them, to be a private eye for them, which is kind of cool. And then the way that you do that is by doing the little match 3 puzzler where you drag your finger through as many of them as you can make. And initially, like for example, you'll drag through 5 footsteps, and then some piece of evidence will appear, if you're able to get 5 in a row. And there's I think 5 different ones. You can get like donuts, and then handcuffs appear. And then what will happen is that's kind of like the first stage of every level. And then you have the second part of every level, which is actually going in and using the evidence and the clues you've gathered in different ways to play through almost mini games to some degree, that will allow you to then, solve the different cases. For example, there's one that happens at least or quite a bit, and it's do you remember that game Guess Who? Like board game where there's all the different faces, and you're like,
oh yeah.
Does he have a nose? And then you put down all the people that have a nose, depending on what they say. It's kind of like you're playing Guess Who. You'll have like a lineup of like 6 suspects, and they'll be like, is he tall? And they'll say yes, and so you can go and knock out all the short people. And then there's another part of the mini game where you have to like search a house, and there's like a weird little meter that tells you as you're getting closer. And then there's another little mini game that there'll be like different hints. They'll say like, this is 1 space away from water. And then you'll look at the map of the city and figure out which parts of the grid are 1 space away from the water, and it'll kind of like highlight them. And then, you'll get another clue that'll say, this is not within 3 spaces of a police station. And so slowly you'll be able to figure out which city block it is. And so there's these kind of little mini games along with it. The way that it works is there's a bunch of story missions. The story missions, you have to spend newspapers they're the major missions, and you have to spend newspapers in order to unlock them. You can only ever have a pile of 3 newspapers unless you pay. And then what happens is you go and run through newspapers, and newspapers are just kind of like quick missions. They're kind of like the farming one from, that you just play through real quick and don't have all the extra mini games after them. And you'll get a bunch of money or some money from it, and then you'll get a completed newspaper and minor case. And the idea is that you get the minor case so that you build up your fame and all that enough that people hear about you and bring the major cases to you, is kind of their idea. That's kind of also how they slow you down so that you can't just play the game all in one sitting. But I don't actually find it that obnoxious, because you can play 3 minor cases quickly, and then go and use those to do either 1 or 2 major cases. And I think the number of major cases or the number of newspapers required goes up, but I don't know how far, because it only came out today. So I haven't played through a ton of it. It's very interesting. It feels like they have some of those fun match 3 puzzlers, but then you also are, earning money in your little law firm and buying different pieces of furniture that then give you access to tools, and it's pretty good, and it's free. So If you really liked Puzzle Quest, if you liked it when it came out, then it's probably worth it. If you like Master Puzzlers, it's probably worth checking out. I can't give it a full recommendation yet. I would like to play it more than just, a half hour, an hour today, or however much I played it. It was probably more than that, and I would hate to see how much it was. But it only came out, like I said, last night. I'm enjoying it so far. It is called Another Case Solved, and it's currently published in the App Store's Chill and Go. So I would recommend probably checking it out, and I will probably have a full review next time. But yeah, it's an interesting game, and again, another cool, interesting way that they are using the match 3 puzzler, which is cool because that's what they did last time.
Yep.
They did a different spin on it, and this doesn't feel anything like that. It feels very, pretty original and fresh and stuff. So, yep, that's what I've been playing. And sorry, I talked about that one for a long time, but that's okay because it was worth it.
Well, that's good. I'm super looking forward to this game now. So I've downloaded it. I will be playing it later.
I already have you gotten downloaded 2 games from our talk tonight. That's pretty intense.
Yeah, I did. You should talk to me during the week so that I can be prepped for the show. But I mean, that's a conversation for another time, Jared.
All right.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the show. Let's get right into our news. First up, this one's a good one. The Mikey games, so Mikey Hooks and Mikey Shorts, they just got updates, and the updates basically give them full support for iOS 7 controllers. So if you wanted to make awesome platformers even more awesome, there you go. Now you have actual buttons, if you have a controller, obviously, to play these games with. And there's also a small little note to that one. The first game, Mikey Shorts, is now available on Android as well. So if you have an Android phone, and I don't know why you're listening to this show if you only have an Android phone, but if you do, you can now play Mikey Shorts on that platform as well.
Yeah, I like Mikey Shorts. And I think it would be even more fun with a little controller. I think that, because it is so precise, it could be really good. So
I need to get one of those MFI controllers for sure. I need to find the best one, and then just pick it up. Like that, the Steel Series one, I think, is the one that everybody talks about.
Yeah, it seems like prices are they're falling. It looks like you can get them for about $80 now.
Yeah.
They still need to go down a little more, I think, in order for them to be a real success. But, I think it's kind of crazy that they're so much more expensive than like a Xbox 360 controller or something like that. So
yeah, they're not cheap, but they look really good. Yeah, it's the Steel Series Stratus is the one that I want to pick up. Apparently, I mean, they're made for iPhone. Obviously, that's what MFI means. But I wonder if any local Apple stores will start carrying them. Because if that's the case, I'll just go pick one up from there, so I don't have to do the crazy. It really sucks being in Canada sometimes. Buying stuff online, your shipping is crazy expensive, especially when it's coming from the UK. It's nuts. But if I go to the Apple store and pick one of these up, I do it on the weekend, for example. So I'll have to do that.
Yeah, it's cool to see something new from BeaverTap, just that they're working on stuff, just because, we had them, interviewed them on the show, and they're really great to talk to. And
they're awesome.
Yep, great people to interact with and good people to follow on. They're pretty funny on Twitter if you follow them. So.
Yeah, no, we go back and forth every once in a while. Oh, it looks like it is available from the Apple Store online, available to ship, and they're $79.95 for the Steel Series Stratus, and free shipping. So I could just order one right from Apple and do it that way. Might have to do that. Cool. Awesome. Well, moving on, let's get to the next one. Some of the first details of the next Erlon game, Erlon Forge and Flame. They posted out some screenshots on the Touch Arcade forums. They look unbelievably awesome. So Erlon was the really great game, RPG, similar to like an Oblivion. It's third person fully immersive 3D RPG. Looks great. There was rumor that another game was coming out. These are the first details. So I'll post a link to the Touch Arcade article, but it looks crazy. So not only does the game look better and have better lighting, apparently there's full day and night cycles. So you could be hunting, and then it gets night, and other enemies come out, and then it becomes daytime again, and the zombies go away or whatever that the night creatures happen to be. It just looks so good, especially with the power of the newer iPads. I can't wait to play a game like this on one of the new devices. It's going to be pretty damn awesome looking, I think.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm betting it will probably be at like holiday this year or something like that.
Yeah, probably like
it seems like
September.
They come out with one of their big ones, late in the year every year. So, But yeah, it looks really good, and it's kind of crazy to me that the original Airlon came out in 2010, like almost 3.5 years ago now.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like that much time has passed.
And the funny thing was that game was so impressive, and then you look at it now, and it's like, I found that enjoyable. Like, what was the state of the App Store at that time? Like, it's amazing how far things have come.
It's really true.
Yeah. Cool. All right, moving on. We got a great app announcement and release happened today. A little bit shady-ish. It's kind of not totally on the. Oh no, I mean it's not like it's a scam or anything, but it's an emulator, which is kind of a gray area for a lot of people. It's called GBA for iOS. It's available at gba4iosapp.com. And it is a Game Boy Advance / Game Boy emulator that you can basically just download right on your iOS device, whether it's jailbroken or not. When the app first released, anybody could go to their website and just hit download, and it was running. Apple quickly patched the hole that they used in one of the enterprise certificates. So now before you do that, you have to set your date on your device back to before February 19th. So set it to February 18th, go to the website, hit download, it installs. And then you have to basically, you won't be able to run it if you reboot your device unless you go back to before February 19th, run it so that it loads, and then you can put your date and time back. So it's a bit of a workaround. But if you're into emulators at all, this is pretty darn exciting. It has full support for Dropbox, so you can keep all of your favorite ROMs on Dropbox. It supports game controllers, I believe, as well. Yeah, iOS 7 controller support. They're doing something called event distribution. So, Jared, you're a Pokemon player, so you know how Nintendo will randomly say, available this weekend at Toys R Us, you can get this really cool Pokemon. Well, they will do that in the emulator, so they can actually make a random awesome Pokemon available using this event distribution thing. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's super polished. Looks really great. I don't know. I'm more of someone that likes to play on the real hardware. I'm really looking forward to getting my Retron 7 or Retron 5 rather, so that I can play some of my old actual cartridges on my television. But for people that like emulators, this is available and you can check it out.
Did you actually try to install it?
Yeah, I installed it this morning just to see if it worked, and yeah, it works perfectly fine, which is kind of cool.
Wait. We forgot our disclaimer. The Touch of Gaming podcast does not endorse piracy of games.
Well, of course
you should own a copy of the game if you're going to use the emulator
for
or
sure.
Something like that, so that we don't get in trouble.
Well, yeah, for sure. I actually showed my son this morning because one of his favorite games is on his Game Boy. It's what is it called? It's like Hot Wheels Stunt Tracks or something along those lines. And then I showed him this emulator. He's like, I can play my game on your iPad now? And I'm like, well, kind of. He's like, well, where do I put the cartridge? So I had to explain to him what an emulator is. And he's like, oh, that's neat. So can we do that now? And I'm like, no, I'm going to have to find some way to get your cartridge ripped and put on a thing. I have an old cartridge reader because I used to have a development kit because I was writing some Game Boy Advance software way back in the day, just some homebrew stuff. And I don't even know if I can download save games and stuff like that using that, but I'll have to look into it and see what I can find. But yeah, it's available right now at gba4iosapp.com, and yeah, you can check it out and see if that is something you want to use on your device. Just so you know, you are installing a homebrew application through kind of a kind of I mean, it's not an illegal way, but it's they're kind of working around the system. So who knows what this developer is doing to your device? But apparently it's like this little kid, like a 16-year-old or something. So I don't, and he's an American as well. So it's not like some crazy like Chinese mob or some other, like whatever the horror story of the week is for hackers online. It's not those people. It's just a kid that and some of his friends that made this thing, and just happened to make one of the best iOS emulators that have come out, apparently.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because right now I'm actually like actively playing a Game Boy Advance game. I'm playing Golden Sun Lost Age, and so yeah, just not on my iOS device.
Yep.
So yeah, the next story. Dungelot. Do you remember Dungelot? Came out last year. Fun little game.
I do. I played it a lot.
Yeah, I played it a lot too. Well, kind of out of the blue, they last year it came out about this time of year, and they announced almost immediately Dungelot 2, which I and you were a little not annoyed with, but a little surprised that they were. It felt like they were leaving the old game and starting a new game just because Dungelot, the original, had been so successful, and they were kind of pulling the support, and that ended up not happening as much because they did continue to support Dungelot, the original. Maybe not a lot, but they still were doing some things with it. And Dungelot 2 ultimately took quite a bit of time. They did change quite a few things about it. It kind of snuck out on the App Store. I was a little surprised at it because I hadn't ever seen like a, hey, this is releasing or anything like that notice. It released. I downloaded it because I liked it, and I think it was free, or maybe it was a couple of bucks. And I went and was playing it, and this thing was crazy buggy. I mean,
oh, really?
Yeah. So there was all sorts of times when it was just little things would go wrong. You know how in the other one, lots of times you would spend money and then you would get some sort of permanent upgrade. Basically, everything was consumable. And so you could get more life or whatever for this run into the dungeon, but you wouldn't have that life permanently. Whereas in the other one, you could like level up. It felt a lot more aggressive with kind of those in-app purchases in terms of money, and it was a kind of a disappointment. Well, the game only lasted for 48 hours on the App Store. It got some bad press, some bad reviews, and then the developer, kind of cool on Facebook, he says this: "I've removed Dungelot for sale at the moment. We admit fail and will relaunch with a new update. We will also add complimentary bonus with update." He said that he removed it because the App Store ratings were in the toilet and because it suffered from tons of bugs. And then also in the Touch Arcade forum, he says in-app purchases were a fail for both the players and us developers. And he said many bad decisions came from the idea of free-to-play. Mm-hmm. So, interesting. There's just something interesting to see. The game was still kind of enjoyable. It just felt like it was pretty aggressive on the in-app purchases. There was some buggy things where, people would like hit with more than what it said that they would hit with, and just some things like that really kind of called it into question. And I think that it's interesting to see what will happen coming in the future, because it sounds like they're committed to the game, to the property, to make it good and experience that people actually enjoy. And so hopefully when it comes back out, it'll be better, and we'll let you know when that is, because it'll update on my thing, and until then I probably will not be playing it.
Well, that's too bad. I remember, I'm trying to think back, and I think the original Dungelot was supposed to be free to play, but was changed just before release to be a retail game. So they charged $2 for it, or whatever it was, something like that. So it's weird that they would have made the same mistake twice if that was in fact what actually happened. But yeah, it's too bad. I liked the first game, so I'm a little bit disappointed that this one had all these problems.
Yeah, I also remember they went and rebalanced it, and like at first they went and it was a very punishing game, and then they almost made it too easy.
Yeah.
Like I would get to like level like 30 or something and feel a really big accomplishment, and then they went and rebalanced it and tweaked it, and all of a sudden I was getting like level 70, and I wasn't doing anything, and I was like, and now the plays were lasting like 45 minutes, and I didn't have that much time, and so it's just interesting. It seems like a developer that's trying to just dial things in and get it to the where they want it to be, and maybe that's not their strength, though it seems like they do have some real talent in making good games because the core concept is good and it's been fun. So one to watch, and hopefully it'll take them a little bit of time, and then it'll be a better game when it comes back out.
Very, very cool. Awesome. Well, moving on, our last story today is some Minecraft news. Apparently, well, not apparently, the worlds on Minecraft for iOS are incredibly, incredibly small, like really small, like 500 by 500 blocks or something. It's crazy. My wife started playing it, and she's like, I'm hitting the edge of the world everywhere I go. And so it's like, yeah, the worlds are really, really, really small. Well, it turns out that that this is being worked on. So there's a new version of this app that is going to be coming out. It was posted from the developer of the app that it will be coming soon-ish. They don't have a release date, obviously, but they're going to make a significantly larger sized world so that when you play it, you're not basically running into the wall constantly, which is a really good thing. What they're doing is they're going to be basically redoing how the save structure works, because I know that on the PC, if you've played some of the later versions of Minecraft and you've explored a lot of the world, your save games can be like almost a gig in size if you've played a lot of it. So obviously it's not going to be an unlimited size, but the PS3 and the 360 have a world size that's 1,000 blocks by 1,000 blocks, which is double the size, or I guess quadruple the size of what the iOS version has. So that might be a good place to start, but who knows, maybe they'll make it even bigger. That's one of the biggest complaints I have with playing one of these mobile versions or playing the console version. It's just that it is so limiting. So if they could go and get rid of some of those limits, that would be an amazing thing. So we'll talk about it a little bit more. I love playing Minecraft on my PS3, so I definitely want to start getting into some of the iOS stuff. Jared, stop trying to make me laugh when I'm talking. And when this release comes out, we'll definitely cover it here on the show. Because Minecraft is a super popular game. That's all. My son is 7, and that's all that everybody in his class talks about is playing Minecraft on iPhones and iPads. Or Android tablets as well. Just the mobile version of Minecraft. That's all they talk about, and that's all they do. So it's kind of ridiculous. A bunch of 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. That's their game. They could play anything, but they choose to play Minecraft. So we'll definitely talk about it more here on the show as the update gets closer to coming out.
Great. Yeah, I look forward to actually listening to your series where you try to teach Will what Minecraft is about, because I've never got it.
It'll be fun. We're going to be doing just a series of kind of let's plays on VG podcasts related to our D-Res podcast, which is a newer show that we're doing, which is the renamed version of the bonus stage. So if you haven't heard it yet, definitely urge you to go check it out. Will's a great co-host, definitely a different dynamic than I had with Jeff. Will is not grumpy for the sake of being grumpy, and he doesn't hate everything by default. So it's definitely a different feel from what the bonus stage was. I mean, everybody, what the heck is that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, cool. Are you just playing games while I'm talking? Is that what you do all the time?
No, I was trying to get Hearthstone configured because whenever they
that's what it was.
update it, it gives me out of range errors on my monitor.
Oh, fun.
And so then I have to go figure out how to get it configured.
Oh, Jared, you and your multitasking. But yeah, D-Res is a great show. So I urge you to check it out at vgpodcast.com. But yeah, we'll be doing a series of videos where I take Will basically into the wilds of Minecraft because he's never played it before, and we're going to do that on the PlayStation 3 and live stream in about hour chunks over at our website and available later for download or for watching on YouTube. So that should be a fun thing. If I could teach my wife to play Minecraft and my kids to play Minecraft, we'll see how much more difficult it is to teach Will to play Minecraft. And we'll go from there. It should make for some interesting internet television.
Yeah, well, I'll have to follow along because I think I'm in the same boat as Will. Just like, I know it's huge and I know that people love it, and I just have never quite got it in general. So we'll see.
It's a lot of fun. Cool. All right. Well, let's get into the rest of the show. Let's get into our reviews. So, Jared, why don't you tell us a little bit about Bug Heroes 2 while you try to get your Hearthstone configured at the same time?
No, I'll stop trying to get Hearthstone configured. I have to go in and edit the little like config file, or else it doesn't load right. And then it says out of range or whatever, and it just sits there and does squat. It's annoying. Anyway, so Bug Heroes 2. This game also came out this week. However, I was lucky enough to get a code for it about 2 weeks ago, Lloyd? Something like that.
Yep.
And this is by the guys at Forsaken Media. They have done several other games. They also obviously did the other Bug Heroes games. I mean, that's the obvious one, Bug Heroes and Bug Heroes Quest, which were both very good. But more recently, they did Block Fortress, which a lot of people got really excited about because it had kind of the pixel art voxels, but it was a tower defense game. And they also did Heroes and Castles, which I really liked. They did Monster Adventures, which I liked quite a bit less. But regardless, this game is fantastic. So Bug Heroes 2, the premise of the game is that you are a bug hero, and there's like 25 different bug heroes that you can unlock in this, which is one of the cool parts about it. And you'll randomly get a few, and by playing, you're able to unlock more. You get them by getting stars, and or you can go and pay to unlock them. There's also a few like special guys, and because usually when you're playing, you get 2 bug heroes, and so you kind of have like your primary and your backup. And if one dies, you can take control of the other one, and the one that dies will usually come back. It'll just take a little bit of time. And then there's also these special super ones, which I'm looking at, that look really cool. There's like the field mouse, the tarantula, the praying mantis, the hamster. And these ones are like super strong, and you only get one of them if you decide to use them. So to start off with, I got the beetle and the cicada. I don't know if everyone gets those 2 to start off with. And then slowly, like I said, you're able to unlock more. There are 2 different currencies in the game. There's several different currencies in the game. So the main currencies are stars, and stars you use to upgrade. So you get like upgrades that will permanently increase your durability, which will increase your max health. Or maybe all your ranged heroes will get increased range. Stuff like that just helps all your guys, and you're able to spend your stars on that. And then additionally, you have what was really funny for me is that you will also have scrolls, and the scrolls will unlock different abilities, and as you level up your characters, your mastery level with each bug, you'll be able to equip a higher number of scrolls. So you're slowly able to get more, and maybe they'll have like just plus 3% to your damage or plus to your speed. And overall, just slowly allows you to have kind of like this RPG meta game going on. Then there's a whole bunch of so when you first click into the game, you have the opportunity to go single player, multiplayer, um, single player or multiplayer. I have not, to be honest and clear, I have not really played the multiplayer very much. And part of the reason was because I've been playing this for the last 2 weeks before anyone else has it. So, the only other people that would have had it were other people that were reviewing it, and they weren't. I never found them online to play multiplayer with, or maybe I'm not friends with them, or that type of thing. So if you go into single player, there's missions, and the missions there'll be all sorts of different ones. Maybe it'll say, I'm looking what's available right now. I have one, survive against melee. Bug heroes have been ambushed while away from the food stash, and so it'll be 4 minutes and 30 seconds of just melee bugs. And then you have endless battles so you have missions, endless, or skirmish. So endless, it's very simple. You try to see how far you go. You set up your little base, and you slowly collect parts so that you can upgrade your turrets, and then you just try to defend. So a lot of what you're going to be doing is running out into the field and grabbing food to restock your supplies and heal, and then also parts so that you can get better turrets and better guys. And then finally skirmish. And skirmish honestly plays a lot more like a MOBA, like a League of Legends or a Dota 2, than anything else. So basically you have two heroes, and usually what I'll use some sort of big melee bruiser, and then I'll have my backup be like the Fly, who has some really strong 6-shooters. And when you're in the game, there's again, when you're actually in the levels, again, there's two currencies. But these currencies you can't purchase; they're just to help with the flow of the game. And the two currencies, I guess there's kind of three. So there's one that's money that allows you to go and buy items, exactly like League of Legends or something. You can buy like a stronger gun. There's also an accessory slot that you can, equip all sorts of other things in there. And then your defense. And then the second one is the spare parts. And with the spare parts, that's what you can go and upgrade your turrets with. And then you'll also have your food currency, which your food is basically what you're trying to protect. And if you're ever like low on life, you can run back to your base and eat some of your food so that, you can get healed. And then occasionally, you'll be playing and also be like, the man gods have dropped food and spare parts. And so then you'll have to run out onto the battlefield and collect them and get back to your base. So it's really cool because there's some levels that play very much like a kind of a tower defense light game, because you're, setting up your little towers and letting them go to town, and surviving through waves of bad guys. Then you'll have other ones that play very much like the MOBA games, and you'll have other ones that play more like a action adventure game, because you're trying to level up and you don't have a base necessarily. So it's more like a very light Diablo, maybe. Not really quite sure where to go there, but it's really cool. There's a lot of replayability. Whenever there'll be like a new mission will come to you, it'll be worth so many stars. If you fail, you still get experience for your guys. Your mastery level for your guys goes up. However, the mission will still be there. It'll just be worth 1 star less, which is kind of a good way to handle it. And I've lost plenty of times because the game is tough. When you're actually purchasing things in the store, the only thing you can actually purchase is the gems. And the gems are what allow you to unlock extra bugs. And they also allow you to unlock extra scrolls. So if you're interested in doing that, it is available. They start off pretty reasonable. However, I think to unlock bugs, I think usually it costs about 500. Let me check that real quick. I know for the big guys. Oh no, for the little guys it only costs 100. But for the big guys, it costs 500. So that's a little, well, it is what it is. And then some of them cost 150. But then, yeah, the big guys cost 500. So that's a $5 purchase if you want one of the big guys. So I don't know I have not, just playing the game, unlocked a big guy. So I don't know if you actually have to purchase them or you just have to go really far and play it for a long time. For me, though, I really, really, really enjoyed this game. It felt like it did so many different things, and I really like the sense of progression. At times it can feel a little slow, but I like the overall sense of progression that you're leveling these different guys. You find kind of your favorites. Occasionally you'll have missions that, like if Beetle goes on them, then they're worth more gems, which is great. So you're like, okay, fine, I'll take Beetle, even though he's maybe a little bit lower level than maybe some of my other guys. So they just do so many things that make it interesting and keep it, change it up. The one thing I would complain about, they don't have a ton of maps on it. I think there's like 3 or 4 maps, and that's about it. I'm trying to think. I can only think of 3 off the top of my head. There may be a 4th, but it's very, very limited in the number of maps. I have not unlocked any more maps or anything, so I hope that in future support for this game, they will add that. They have been extremely good about supporting their games post-release, so I'm very hopeful that they'll do that. The second thing I would say that, again, is just a little bit annoying is that at times there will be very specific missions, and in those missions you need to make sure that you go and accomplish them. I had one where I was playing and it was a defense stage, and what it said was you had to survive with level 1 cannons or something like that. Well, I had enough pieces that I wasn't building cannons. I thought that it would just automatically happen, and I played through like 10 or 12 waves until they finally just, I couldn't live anymore. And then I went and retried the same level and just got my spare parts and put them in to just level 1 cannons, and then built on my other spots, like the other tower spots, whatever I wanted. But I made sure I had level 1 cannons, and I beat it like after the 3rd wave. So it's just little things like that that I guess I didn't realize that I wasn't building. Like maybe they could encourage you somehow to actually build the level 1 cannon, for example, and not build other things or not upgrade it above a level 1 cannon, so you're doing something that you shouldn't. One little funny thing was when I first got turrets, and probably for the first week that I played the game, I didn't realize that there were more than 5 types of turrets. I thought there were only 5 and you could upgrade them. Turns out you can scroll down that list and there's like 15. There's a whole bunch more. And I was like, oh, it's one of those ones that you just find out way late in the game and you just feel silly that you hadn't realized it before that. Even those things, I think everyone should check this game out. It is free. If you like any of those genres, they're not even my favorite genres, but yeah, I really love the game. I probably really like the RPG, over game and all that. But download this game, Bug Heroes 2, Forsaken Media. It's free to play, so if you really don't like it, you can delete it. But it gets a full 5 out of 5 from me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they support this and what they keep doing with it, because I think it's a great game.
Very cool. I'll definitely be checking this one out and see what I think about it as well.
Yeah, you were a little surprised it was free when I told you it, because the first one was not free when it came out.
No, I thought it was, for some reason I thought it was like $1.99 or $3.99. I thought it came out as a premium price, but it's free, so I will definitely check it out.
Yep, worth it.
Cool. All right, well, let's get into my review. For today's review, I'm going to review a game called Only One. It's by Ernest Soka, and it is it's kind of like a retro-looking brawler. So you play this little pixelated guy, and there can be only one, similar to like a Highlander movie or something. This sword drops on the screen, you pick it up, and then waves of enemies will start spawning, and then you have to attack them. The controls are really simple. You have a floating D-pad that you can move around on the left, and then a attack button on the right. You move around, avoid enemy attacks, attack them. You hit them a couple times, and they die. You pick up their stuff. You're on a big pillar that's in the middle of this environment. So the whole middle of the screen has this big pillar, and you can run around on the top of the pillar. If you knock an enemy off the edge, he dies. And that's a really good way to get rid of enemies, except for the fact that you don't get any of the stuff they drop. At the same time, you can also be knocked off and instantly die. The things that the enemies will drop are energy, and they also drop hearts, so you can replenish your life and get energy. The energy stuff is what you use to upgrade your skills and things. The energy that you pick up will then be used to buy different powers. So the first ones you unlock is a freeze power, and then you unlock a might power. You can basically, every time that you get to a certain level in the game, you get a choice of any of the powers that unlock, and you have to have the power to unlock them. Of skills that unlock, and you need to use power to unlock them. This game is free to download, so when you can just go download it and play it and grind away, and it's great. But since it is freemium, they do have stuff that's available for purchase, and their in-app purchase stuff isn't that crazy. So you can buy 5,000 power for 99 cents. That will buy you pretty much any of the skills in the game. 17,000 for $2.99, 23,000 for $3.99, or 30,000 for $4.99. So it's not too crazy, but the one thing that I bought is it has something called Ultimate Power, which is a power doubler. So you basically, every time that you pick up a power orb, so whether it's a 5, 10, 20, 25, whatever, it will be doubled. So you're basically going to be getting power quicker, which is what I like to do in games like this that I enjoy. Some other things that you can upgrade while you're between unlocking skills and things like that is you start off the game with 4 hearts and no shields, and then you can start investing your power in heart upgrade and shield upgrades so that you can last longer. And then you can also each of the skills, well, not all of them, but a good portion of the skills, you can actually upgrade them with power as well. So you can go to different power levels of each individual skill. So if you unlock freeze and then you upgrade it, it basically just has your freeze skill last longer, so you can freeze the enemies for a little bit longer and stuff like that. And that's pretty much how the game works. The game is divided into a series of levels, and as you play the game, you basically can go from level 0 all the way up to level 70. Each 10 levels there's a boss. So at 10 there's a dude, and then there's a slime, and it just keeps going from there. And the really cool thing about the game is after you get to each of the 10s in the level, so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, etc., it basically gives you kind of like a save state. So you can then start your game from then on from that point. So if you want to grind a little bit more, you might want to go back to 0. But if you want to try to push forward and get to the next level boss, you might want to start at, say, 20 or 30 or 40, depending on how far you've made it in the game. And that's just all done from the level select. Before each match, you can buy yourself a shield upgrade or energy. The energy basically reduces your cooldown. So if you want to use a lot of freezing in one match, say if you're getting close to a boss, you might want to buy energy. They're fairly expensive though, and I didn't find myself spending a lot of time buying those. I would just grind until I could unlock the next level of a skill I wanted, and then get further and further and further and further. But that's essentially what this game is. It's super simple to play. I mean, like I said, you basically just, it's a dual stick shooter, but it's not a shooter. You're swinging a sword. The one thing that's a little bit strange is you have to basically be right up in someone's face to hit them with your sword. You can unlock a skill called, I believe it's called Might, but I'm not looking at it right now, so I'm not 100% positive on that. I can bring it up in a second, not that it really matters. And that gives you the ability to attack from further away, but only if you have full health. So if you take damage, then you have to get right up on someone, which kind of defeats the purpose of that kind of skill. You'd want might to be the opposite way, I guess. But I mean, that notwithstanding, I mean, the game itself is pretty solid. The controls are great. I'm very, very addicted to playing this whenever I have a free moment. So it's done what it was supposed to do, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's super simple. The thing that was really cool, this game is only 13 megs to download, so it's incredibly small. You could download it in a couple seconds and get in and play it. That's the first thing that kind of impressed me. I hit download. I glanced away from my phone. I looked at it, and it was installed. It's like, what? That's not right. Sure enough, it's just a really small game. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's only one. It's like I said, a great dual stick shooter, but it's not a shooter. It's a stabber. It's a dual stick stabber, I guess. If you want to use that as a box quote, Ernest, feel free. One of the best dual stick stabbers on the App Store, and this game gets a 4 out of 5. Only reason why I'm not rating it a 5 out of 5 is that the controls are still a little bit, to me, buggy. He with an update that came out after I originally downloaded it, he basically gave it a floating D-pad, which made it great in some ways and then made it worse in other ways. So I'm hoping that this is a game that I could use with, say, like an external controller or something. I haven't looked to see if it supports the MFI controllers. I would assume that it would, but I don't believe it's in his App Store. No, I don't believe so. In his description, I don't think it's there. So yeah, I don't believe so. So, I mean, this would be a game that would be perfect for something like that, because you want the interface to get out of the way. I don't know how they would do that with a controller because of all the extra powers that you can unlock, I guess. Maybe that's the ultimate problem. But anyway, Only One by Ernest Zoka. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right, Ernest, if you hear this. Really, really enjoyable game. It's free to try. Definitely go download it and see if it's something you want to play. It's to me, it's incredibly addictive, and I'm having definitely a lot of fun playing it. So do check that one out. It gets a 4 out of 5 from me.
Okay, great.
Yep. Cool, man. I think that's going to about do it for this episode.
Cool.
All right. Well, we want to hear from you guys. We want you to tell us what you think of the show. Head on over to vgpodcasts.com. Check out our slate of shows while you're there. But you can also hit contact us at the top of the page to shoot us an email. You can check out our forums while you're there. A lot of the podcast hosts and loyal listeners hang out there and chat from time to time. So if you want to talk to other like-minded gamers, that is a great place to do it. You can email us directly at vgpodcast@gmail.com with any comments or questions that you have. If it's a question we can answer, we'll answer it on a future episode of the show. Or you can call our voicemail line. It's area code 505 VG Podcasts. Send us a voicemail and we will play it in an upcoming episode of the Touch of Gaming podcast. All right, Jared, that was a great show. Thanks for joining me yet again.
Hey, we're still here.
We are still here.
Yeah, we're getting way up there in shows.
161, man. That's quite a number. It's good. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun doing it. So hopefully, I mean, we're on a once every 2 weeks release schedule for the next little while, but hopefully that will change, and we'll keep you guys updated on when it happens, and we'll start getting back to doing a show a week and talking about all them's games, because there's a lot coming out. Looking at the release lists on say Touch Arcade or any of the other websites, there's like 25 awesome games that are coming out every week now. It's not like 3 anymore. There's so many games coming out these days, and they're all stuff that I want to play. It's impossible now. It was hard to do before, but now it is practically impossible to play all the good games that come out in a given week. It's kind of ridiculous, but I guess that's a good problem to have. That there's more than you can ever deal with is better than not enough, I guess.
Definitely, because if there's not enough, then you're a Wii U.
Exactly. All right, guys, that's going to about do it for this episode. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in and subscribing. And we'll talk to you in a couple weeks' time. So take it easy, everybody.